Welcome to Biology at Priyajit, my dear viewers. Today we will explore cell signaling, types, receptors and molecular mechanism. Cells basically communicate through chemical signals to regulate growth, development and responses to the environment. So understanding signaling types, receptors and transduction pathways helps us see how external messages produce specific cellular responses and how their disruption leads to various diseases. Cell signaling basic concept. All living cells constantly receive information from their external environment. These signals regulate growth, differentiation, metabolism, immunity, movement, and apoptosis. So, communication occurs through signaling molecules like ligands, which are released or displayed by one cell and receptors present on another cell. So only those cells that possess the specific receptor for a signal can respond. So cell signaling basically ensures coordination among tissues, integration of organ functions, maintenance of homeostasis and proper development and survival of the cell. So there are basically three stages of signal transduction. First one is the reception, signal reception, second one is the signal transduction and third one is the response from the receiving cells. So this is the basic image showing the process of cell signaling. So steps of extracellular signaling. Synthesis of signal molecules, ligands such as hormones, neurotransmitters, growth factors are synthesized in signaling cells. Release or secretion of signals. Signals are released by exocytosis or by diffusion for lipid-soluble molecules. Transport to target cell, local diffusion just like paracrine or autocrine stimulation, direct contact, juxtacrine, blood circulation, that is endocrine. So recognition by specific receptor. When a ligand, a ligate or binds only to its complementary receptor, that is in lock and key specificity. So receptor activation occurs, ligand binding induces conformational change in receptor, and signal transduction, activation of second messengers such as cyclic AMP, calcium 2 plus, IP3, diacylglycerol, etc. Cellular response, altered gene expression, enzyme activity, cytoskeleton, secretion or cell cycle. So this is the basic steps of cell signaling. First one is the reception by the cell, second one is the signal transduction and third one is the cellular response. Types of cell signaling. Autocrine signaling. Cell secretes a ligand that acts on its own receptor. It is important in immune response and cancer. Example, IL-2 secretion by activated T lymphocytes. Paracrine signaling. Signal acts on neighboring cells only. Limited diffusion in tissue fluid. Examples, neurotransmitters at synapse and growth factor, neural growth factor and epidermal growth factor. Endocrine signaling. Hormones released into the bloodstream. It acts on distant target organs. Examples such as insulin, thyroxine, cortisol and growth hormone. This is the image showing the autocrine signaling. When a cell targets itself, the cellular signaling molecule stimulate or inducing the same signaling molecule. Paracrine signaling, when a cell targets a nearby cell, that is signaling cell and its target cell. Endocrine signaling, when a cell targets its distant cell through the bloodstream. This is bloodstream, this is the signaling cell and this is target cell. Juxtacrine or contact dependent signaling, when ligand remains membrane bound, it requires physical contact between cells. So examples include Notch delta signaling in development, cadherin mediated adhesion signaling. Metacrine signaling, cellular metabolism regulates gene expression and metabolites act as signaling molecules. So example, fatty acids activating PPAR gamma or nuclear receptor. Types of signal molecules. Membrane bound signals, when the signal molecules attach to the plasma membrane or it mediates juxtacrine signaling. Examples include Notch ligands, ephrine, cadherin, etc. Secretory signals include autocrine factors, paracrine factors and endocrine factors. Classification based on chemical natures. First one is the lipophilic or hydrophobic signal molecules. They are small and nonpolar molecules. They can diffuse through plasma membrane. They bind intracellular receptors. Receptor ligand complex acts as transcription factor. Examples include steroid hormones, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol and aldosterone. thyroid hormone T3 and T4, retinoic acid, vitamin D, and calcitriol. So there are 6 types of ligands. Steroid hormones include estrogen and testosterone. Peptide hormones include insulin and glucagon. Neurotransmitters include acetylcholine, dopamine, etc. Gases include nitric oxide, carbon monoxide. Icosanoids include prostaglandin and thromboxane, and plant hormones include auxin and ethylene. Hydrophilic signaling molecules, large polar molecules, they cannot cross lipid bilayer. It bind to cell surface receptors, act via second messengers. Examples include peptide hormones, insulin and glucagon, catecholamines, epinephrine or norepinephrine, gastrointestinal hormone, gastrin, secretin or CCK, trophic hormone, ACTH and TSH. Icosanoids, a special class derived from arachidonic acid, act locally, that is either paracrine or autocrine. Examples include prostaglandins, prostacyclins, leukotrienes, thromboxanes. When icosanoids bind both cell surface receptors, that is GPCR, and intracellular receptor in some cases. So this is the image showing when ligand binds to its receptor, chemical messages relay the signal, and ultimately cellular response are generating. So sending signal, this is the sending cell. It releases the ligand which binds on the receptor of the target cell, and target cells initiates its response. If the cells are non-target cell, so there should be no receptor for the ligand, so the chemical messengers inside the cell relay the signal. Types of receptor: first one is the cell surface receptors located on plasma membrane. They bind hydrophilic ligands. They convert extracellular signal into intracellular signals, such as which is signal transduction. Signal cell surface receptors are 3 kinds: G protein coupled receptor or GPCR, that is the largest receptor family. It activates G proteins such as GS, GI and GQ. It produces second messengers such as cyclic AMP, IP3, diacylglycerol, calcium 2 plus, etc. Ion channel linked receptors, the ligand binding opens or closes ion channels. It's a rapid response. Examples include acetylcholine receptor. Enzyme linked receptors have intrinsic kinase activity, mostly receptor tyrosine kinase or RTKs. Examples include insulin receptor or EGFR. So types of receptor, there is intracellular receptor, ligand gated ion channel, G protein coupled receptor, and enzyme linked receptor. These 3 are the cell surface receptors. Major classes of cell surface receptors include G protein coupled receptor, cytokine receptor, receptor tyrosine kinases, TGF beta receptors, hedgehog receptors, WNT receptors, and Notch receptors. Intracellular receptors or nuclear receptors. So intracellular receptors, basically 2 types: type 1 receptors, that is intracellular cytoplasmic receptor, they are type 1, and type 2 receptors include the intracellular nuclear receptors such as retinoic acid receptor or thyroid receptor. Type 1 receptors include the estrogen receptor or progesterone receptor, which are located within the cytoplasm. So intracellular receptor, they are located in cytosol or nucleus. They bind lipophilic signals. Ligand receptor complex enters the nucleus. They binds DNA at hormone responsive element or HREs. They regulate transcription, so that the gene can be on or off, switch on or off. They belong to nuclear receptor superfamily. So these intracellular receptors types include steroid hormone receptors, thyroid hormone receptors, retinoic acid receptors, vitamin D receptors, PPAR gamma, PPARs, all orphan nuclear receptors, which are ligands are unknown. So as we conclude, remember that cell signaling explains how cells communicate through specific receptors and pathways to produce precise responses. Understanding its types and molecular mechanisms helps you appreciate how coordination in the body is maintained and how signaling defects lead to disease. Keep exploring the wonders of cellular communication. Thank you.